Hello and welcome to the Argument Project. This is a way to get the idea of argumentation across and hopefully get you building on the idea of researching and supporting your ideas in the support of an argument paper. There are three topics which I have posted in a bulletin board, and your job is to take two of them. You don't have to take all three. Two of them and write a thesis statement. So you're going to write a thesis statement for an argument essay. I am posting an argument reading in your announcements, and so therefore you will be hopefully ready for the idea of argumentation, and this is a good outlet or a good first step into that world. You'll be writing thesis statements for argument topics. Notice that it should use the word should in the thesis. An argument is about what should happen. It's not what's happening right now. The price of gas is too high. Well, that's a fact. It's not an argument. The price of gas should go lower in coming months because of three relevant, issues. That is an argument. I think it should, I'm arguing that that's going to happen, go down. And by the way, I don't know enough about gasoline to tell you whether that's true, so please don't invest. Arguments are about what should happen, and that's what I'm trying to get across. Now, you've written your two thesis statements and you've posted them under the topics. So you have three topics, 1, 2, and 3. You've chosen two of them and written your thesis statements. Now is when it gets exciting. It is the job of other students to argue against your thesis. So take part of the thesis. Usually the thesis has three things that should happen, or three things that should change, or should be considered. You will take one of those and argue against it. So if your topic is about, like I said, oil futures, which is boring, but at least I can use it, they should go down because of the recent fluctuation in fracking and the fact that environmental pressure on fracking is changing the market. Okay, well, how would you argue against that? As a student, you will look at that thesis and you will try to find something about it that you can argue against. You can say, hey, fracking is actually not becoming less prevalent. It's actually becoming more prevalent. More people are fracking on national lands. Therefore, there will be a greater supply of oil. Okay. Now we have a counter argument that you are going to look at once they've posted, and you'll say, oh, that's interesting. All of a sudden, I'm having an argument. I'm using my written words to have an argument with another student. Now, it's not an angry argument, it's just a thoughtful one. What are some of the weaknesses in my first proposal? That's what we're trying to find out. So, address this concern posted by the other student. You will do this for 5 of the replies. So, you will be writing 5 replies, by the way, to other students, and you will be addressing, or more, before I say that, you can do as many as you'd like. And then you will be addressing at least 5 of the replies that are posted as under your thesis statement. So here we are with you saying, okay, you think, I wrote a thesis that says the price of oil is going to go up because people are becoming concerned about fracking and there'd be less or fewer fracking missions and fewer fracking, I don't know if it's a mission, what would it be? Fewer fracking sites, let's say, because of environmentalism. Someone then countered my argument. They said, no, it's not happening. There are not fewer fracking sites. Actually, there are more fracking sites that are going on. So he countered my argument. Then my refutation has to come back in. I have to go back and prove his idea or her idea wrong. So I go in after the post challenging my thesis, and I find some information, some research, and I try to show him or her that she is wrong. I will find research on fracking that says something about the content of the mineral runoff of the fracking that is causing huge damage in local ecologies, and that there are several lawsuits. I'll research that, find out that there are several lawsuits that could cripple the oil companies if they continue doing this fracking. So really, yes, there might be a slight uptick in fracking. The student was right. There are more fracking sites. However, when you look at the long view, my refutation shows my initial point to be correct. Fracking is going down because of these environmental concerns. So, that is what you have to do for 5 replies to your theses. You will first, like I said, start with, you really have to engage. This is a little tough. It is part of a very quick jump into argument, and I understand that, but we're going to try to jump into it with the idea of how to argue, the idea of how to counter-argue, and the idea of how to research to back up your points. That's a lot, but I think we can do it if we all stick together. So you have to engage on this assignment. If you don't post counter-arguments against other students, you're not really completing your task. So if you just post your thesis and you wait for somebody to counter-argue and then you refute it, and you do your short paragraph refuting it, and you do nice support, that's lovely. It shows you understand, but you haven't really completed the assignment because you need to help out other students. You need to counter-argue their thesis statements. You need to keep the people on the board moving forward to understand how to complete the assignment in a way that is not going to wait until Monday night to finish. So I want you to be active as soon as you can. Okay. If you only answer one of the counter-arguments against your thesis and there's no support, you're not completing the task. You need to answer at least 5 students and their refutations. I will go through the boards on Friday, and if I don't see enough refutations so that students can't work, if I don't see enough people have replied to the thesis statements that are already up there, I'll probably counter-argument myself. I'll run in, I'll dip in, I'll give a couple counter-arguments so that you guys can start to work as quickly as possible. So, comment on at least 5 thesis statements. You are posting 2 thesis statements, then you're going to comment on at least 5 thesis statements of people in your class. Make sure each comment contains a disagreement as part of the comment. You need to tell them how they're wrong. This is a counter-argument. You're wrong. Part B of your thesis is wrong. Blah, blah, blah. And try to be as specific as you can. You want them to know why you think it is wrong. Then you're going to write a short paragraph replying to each of the counter-arguments. So someone posts something under your thesis, tells you how it is wrong. You're going to write replying to that counter-argument and refute it. You're going to show how your initial thesis is correct. You need to go up against other people's ideas in an argument in order to make it valid and academic. And you're going to bring some research into that supports your point, and you're going to heroically present it. Okay? As I said, this is not an easy week, but it's probably a little easier than an argument essay, which can sometimes be 7 to 10 pages. So look at the 3 topics that I've given you. Find a way to write a thesis about 2, and then start the wheel churning. Start commenting on other people's theses. Start looking up research to find ways to refute other people's challenges to your thesis. And enjoy the fact that you have other people in your group that are giving you so much of their time and, I'm not going to say just effort, intellectual effort in order to help you succeed in understanding what an argument really is. From the hills above Castaic, this is Professor Gifford signing off.